People who have made friends outside of work and school, how on earth did you do that? Volunteering, a few of my offbeat interests relate to non-profit organizations. Those groups are always glad to have people. You start by doing a thing and pretty soon friendships form. If it feels like work, it's the wrong fit. This is probably a stupid question, but how do you find a good place to volunteer? Every time I've tried, I either get no response to my volunteer application or I show up and people just seem annoyed by my presence since I've never been there and am not sure what to do. I agree. You make friends you would have never met otherwise. For example, I'm now friends with a 68-year-old woman with 26 grandchildren. For context, I'm 18. Who'd have thought? Wise friends are great to have. Also, maybe you can plow some of her grandchildren. Or plow her. He is 18 after all. Made me laugh. But I'm a girl. Maybe you can get plowed by one of her grandchildren. Or get plowed by her. She is 18. After all this plowing. Does it even snow there? I was going to say this. I have been, and still do, volunteer once or twice a week for a non-profit, and I've made friends with the people I volunteer with. I've made tons of great friends through this. For me, it's a combination of volunteering and hobbies. I love building stuff, so I volunteer with Habitat for Humanity almost every Saturday. It's a great workout. I get to be outdoors during most phases of construction, and I get to see the same crew as well as meet tons of new people every week. I'd say when I first started volunteering, it was 90 the work that I did that made me come back, and 10 the people I liked working with. And nowadays it's 75 the people I love working with that keeps me coming back, and 25 the work that I do. I still love the work, but I've found that the people are really the driving factor. Finding a volunteering activity you legitimately enjoy doing is one of the greatest secrets of post-school care phase socialization. I'm pretty tight with a couple of neighbors, play pickup hockey and watch stupid movies in the basement. My best friend used to just be my neighbor years ago. We just started chatting and hanging out when we saw each other. Now we talk almost every day on the phone, meet up on the weekends and try to play music. And I've made a couple really great friends through him. It's worth saying hi to the people around you. You never know how good some people could be. I suppose you didn't live in an area where the people are either 10, 50 or single MOMS that never have time for anything. Edit for clarification. All I wanted to say is that the chance of finding someone that shares similar interests to you is probably relatively slim with large age differences in your close neighborhood, especially if you live outside an area where people with similar interests tend to meet. Stepdad of the whole neighborhood. Uncle Uwadam 86 is coming to dinner tonight. Little Uwadam 86, JR. Yep, and they're waiting to meet up for sex now. Single mums here. Please say hi to them. They need friends too. Gathered up the courage to go to an event twice instead of trying something out once and flaking like usual. Probably the best advice here. Local subreddits often have meetups. I've went to drink beer and play some board games with a bunch of strangers. It's fun. Also, meetup is neat. I tried meetup, and I wound up going to a board game meetup. And I showed up at this little board game store. Walked in. First, I'm hot by the wall of smell that is 24 different body odors. I walked to the back to see like 30 people and I got side-eyed by everyone, greeted by nobody, felt uncomfortable as hell and I just NOP'd out. Edit, everyone who's commented has been super helpful. And if anyone's in the Boise area, I'm available weekends and some weekday evenings. OF, sorry that happened. I feel like the kind of people that come to meetups in Bass breweries are maybe a little more hygienic and a little less awkward. Just like anything. It's a hit or a miss. Yeah. A common issue I run into with geek community is judgment. I'm female and I wear makeup and clothes that tend to be girly. Maybe having face paint and a glittery sweater didn't help. LMAO. Added detail. Only 3 of those 30 were females. Try wearing a fedora and bringing your katana next time. Easy icebreaker. It's not as easy as it sounds to break a block of ice with a katana. Clearly you haven't studied the blade. Your katana, maybe, my 1,000-fold Nippon steel strikes so swiftly and true it can cleave the bonds between the hydrogen and oxygen atoms in the ice. And with such force, it then ignites that hydrogen-oxygen mix, resulting in an explosion that then produces pure water, which I catch gracefully in a clay pot and use to make tea as I rest under the cherry trees. They were more scared of you than you were of them. Next time try moving slower and approaching at an angle so they don't feel threatened. Maybe tempt them with small pieces of food. Also remember to feed them with an open palm because they will bite your fingers. The actual purpose of DM screens is to make the DM look bigger, thereby intimidating players into behaving. If it was in Seattle, we've probably been to the same meetup. A friend and I once went to a geek and gaming girls meetup, and we were the only two. Here's a couple ways I have made friends outside of work and school. Being friendly to service people at your local shops and restaurants. Get involved in local events. Usually every town has their events posted. Accept invitations that you normally would not consider. Go to the local farmer's market or junk sale. More exposure over time will bring some familiar faces. After a while, you will start conversations and get to know people. I have legit met people that I wanted to be friends with and made that happen. Yes, a couple times it did not work out, but my instincts are not usually off on potential friends. My best friend of 12 years was my waitress for at least a year, and we found out we had a lot in common after about a year of little conversations. She came to visit me when I worked at a nearby shop one day, and then from there we started hanging out. I also have another friend who 20 years ago I met randomly while I was walking to the store. She was making red candles, and I happened to need a red candle. We now live clear across the country from one another and talk probably twice a year and send Christmas cards. We were best friends for 2 years when we lived near each other. My hairdresser of 5 years and I started spending time together outside the salon. She invited me for coffee and I accepted. And now we hang out every once in a while. I read her cards and she cuts my hair. Be friendly, start conversations and be open. I lived in a small town for a while and worked at a McDonald's. There would be a Chinese lady that worked at the Chinese restaurant across the street. She would get food for her 2 boys sometimes when I worked, and I ordered food from her a lot. We started chatting a bit every time we saw each other, and she even remembered my family's order because my mum's food always had cashews added to her meal and I ordered dumplings. Whenever I visit my family, I like to get Chinese food from her place so we can reconnect. Just frequenting a place and remembering faces can help start friendships. Exactly what I came to say. My best friend of the past 20 years is a guy I played summer baseball with in HS. Then we played men's league together, as well as some social sports, and picked up several more friends. Now we have a crew of like 10 really tight friends. Making friends with other friends is much easier than making friends on your own. I met my best friend in the psych ward. Edit, this really blew up. Like, holy crap. My highest comment on here is now how I made a friend by having a mental breakdown. Thank you for the silver, kind strangers. If anyone is struggling with suicidal thoughts or depression, please reach out to myself or others. Don't make the same poor choice I did. It nearly cost me my life. No joke, but that's how I met one of my best friends too. It's actually been great because he is the most non-judgmental, wonderful person I have ever met and is so understanding of my mental health issues and I his. We were both 17 on an adult ward and fucking terrified. Still extremely close almost 10 years later. This was a year ago. I was in for a suicide attempt. She was in for planning suicide. We both had really bad anxiety and I took an odd chance at trying to comfort this small woman with tears in her eyes, covered in a blanket in the med line. She looked as afraid as I was. Then the cursing started in a brilliant Welsh accent. She has been my rock through so much. I hope I'm being as good a friend as she is to me. I'm so glad you both found each other. I found that I had more support and friendship from other patients, especially my now longtime friend, than from any of the staff. We were both in there for suicide attempts. He was admitted about a day after me. Thankfully, we are both in much better places in our lives, and I do hope that you and your friend are as well. 3. Oh yeah. My second day in the hospital after a suicide attempt, I had one of my worst panic attacks ever. The 4 patients that were sat at the table with me performed deep pressure therapy on me and asked me questions to keep my mind off of what had happened. The nurses just looked at us. No reaction. No, do you need help? No checkup after it had passed, or any mention of it at all. The nurses were asses and I fully believe that I was made better by other patients and pure boredom. I am happy to say that for the first time in my life. I am actually really happy. Edit, this was 2 years ago. Edit 2, spelling and grammar. I shoved a book in her face and told her to read it because I had no one to talk about it with. We're still best friends 17 years later. Go out and do something you like doing. Go up to someone you want to be friends with and ask them a normal question like, "Hey, do you know what time this place closes?" Or something basic like that. If they seem annoyed or bothered, you went up to them, leave. If they seem fine with it, start talking to them and get to know them. Sometimes people just like to hang out and shoot the shit. That's how I make friends, at least. It's how I've made a lot of friends. Sometimes I get a conversation going and then I realize I don't really want to be friends with this guy. One person I met seemed normal, and once he started talking, he wouldn't stop. He turned out to be a conspiracy nut. Ha 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 ha. I've made this mistake too many times to count. And then you're all emergency exit, let's go. And they're like, no wait, there's more. The only thing I have to add for this specific approach is to keep paying attention to body language, even if they don't seem annoyed that you asked the initial question. If you're at, like, the gym or a hobby store or something, and they keep looking back at their machine or the shelves or slowly turning away, let them go. But yeah, I agree, put yourself in situations where you'll find people with similar interests, and be open to meeting new people. I've had some really cool conversations with people on hiking trails, shopping at craft stores, at the library, and I found my hairdresser by complimenting her hair while I was in line at a coffee shop. You can also make online long-distance friends by engaging in groups about your hobbies. Like, I'm really into fiber arts, knitting and shit, and there are a ton of groups where you all work on your project while chatting on Discord or whatever. Those kinds of groups can be really good for people who aren't comfortable approaching people island or have a tough time physically being out of the house for extended periods. What about hiking? Like, how do I just approach some rando on the trail without it seeming weird? Or with a hobby like shooting where there's no ranges within 50 miles? I need more non-solitary hobbies. For hiking, you can talk about the weather, the view, the trail conditions, wildlife, other hikes in the area. Definitely this. I've made lots of temporary friends at dog parks and on trails just by sharing a bit of relevant conversation about the trail difficulty or their hiking pack or their dog or whatever. A few of those turned permanent if I saw them enough times. Just gotta, not be weird about it. It's better with practice. Like anything. Haha. Find a group based on something you actually like. Sports, tabletop games, knitting, etc. Go to multiple meetings. At each meeting, start chatting people up. Don't be afraid to just jump in on a conversation that you think is interesting. It can be way easier than trying to start one with someone who you don't really know. Alternatively, you can totally just go up to people and introduce yourself. Just start asking them questions. People like to talk about themselves, and you'll get a good conversation going 9 times out of 10. From the group of people you are now semi-acquainted with, pick a few whose company you especially enjoy. Ask them to hang out. This can be tricky if they're a very busy person, but if they make an effort to fit you into their schedule, they're worth befriending. If they ghost you, move on and try asking a different acquaintance. It's not worth the effort of forcing someone to hang out who isn't interested. Once you've got some people to hang out with, you've got friends. This can also get you through the early stages of meeting potential dates. As well, if you're more socially awkward, it might be harder to just approach someone or find the will to go to a group more than once. That's why you pick something you like. You have a fun thing to get through the awkward "I don't know anyone really well yet" phase. And you have a designated conversation starter. What's your favorite game? If it's a tabletop game club, or what knitting project are you working on, etc. Good luck. And if all else fails, just be open that you're looking for friends. People are generally sympathetic, and many are equally lonely. That multiple times part though. Usually for me it goes that I go once, I'm already shit nervous and anxious when I'm going to the meetup, 'cause I am shy as all hell. Then at the meeting, my nerves get the best of me, I can barely even hear people talking due to it, and I end up sitting alone, silent for an hour or so before leaving post-haste, without saying a word to anyone. Second time never materializes. Shit sucks. DD and Pokemon Go. Weirdly enough, find a hobby. My husband was lonely and depressed. It is hard for him to make friends because he works 3rd shift every other week. He's up when everybody else is asleep when they are awake, and working whenever they have an outing planned. Then all of a sudden he starts going to this yearly convention for podcasts and tabletop gaming. Next thing you know, he's a guest host on several of the podcasts, has quite a bit of a social media presence and somewhat following on their channels, and talks to these people constantly. It has gotten to the point where I come to the convention and complete strangers walk up to me and ask if I am Barry's dad. I'm like, what? That is my dog. Turns out my dog has a Twitter account I've never heard of with its own following, and I am in some of the pictures and people recognize me. Having a geeky hobby turned him from a lonely person into somewhat of a celebrity in that world. So the next time you are at the liquor store or restaurant and somebody compliments you on your He-Man shirt, strike up a conversation with them. Edit, posted this before bed and it sorta blew up. The convention is called Geeklickin'. Here is the dog tax. Being recognized publicly as your dog's dad is a new one. Haha. No link to Barry's Twitter? You're a monster. Dog tax has been paid. My work here is done. Agreed. You can't humble brag that you're Barry's dad and not give a link to his Twitter account. Do activities outside of work and school, like join choirs or go rock climbing or craft groups or whatever and join in those social circles. Also, make friends in work and school, then make friends with their friends, and then make friends with the friends of their friends until the chain is long enough that the starting point is rendered irrelevant. The make friends with friends of friends is very underrated. And usually your friends have friends more similar to you than your friend. Extroverted introvert here, this comment will get buried. But I am going to post anyway. I have discovered that, for me, one of the easiest ways to make a friend is to be a friend. Find a kind stranger and be excellent to them if they reciprocate. They are a true friend, but only if it is a continuous process. This requires a commitment of time, energy, and thoughtfulness. It requires you to be selfless once in a while. The next important reminder is to not take other people's disinterest personally. Most people you won't vibe with for a variety of reasons, be polite to them. But no need to go the extra mile and put in extra effort. From what I have read in this thread, the people struggling to form friendships likely have trouble with opening up around others, have social anxiety, so they clam up verbally or hide away in their house. Socially awkward or have niche interests that are rare. It's okay. Most people are just as shy and awkward as you. Some might be better actors than you, but a lot of people clam up in the presence of strangers. So, breathe deeply and let the tension flow out of you. You are your own worst critic. Go people watching in various settings. Starbucks is an easy one. Bars are another. Libraries, art galleries, rodeos, sports games, camping hiking trips, etc. On these excursions, and especially if you have social anxiety, don't pressure yourself to step up to people, just discreetly observe without staring or being noticed. The goal is to pick up the vibe of the person and check it against your vibe. Are they higher energy or lower energy or the same as you? Do you dress similarly? Are they tense or loose in their movement? Do they look downwards when they walk? Or is their posture upright and gaze directed outwards? Do they have a happier expression than you wear? A less happy one, or the same? Learn to spot your friend type. Become familiar with them so that when you are within a social setting, you know who to wander over to and crack a joke. Next, learn to become aware of your own vibe. How often do you smile? How often do you laugh? Are you tense or loose and relaxed? When was the last time you wore something other than a ratty shirt? First impressions matter. Social skills. If you don't have them, cultivate them. Think of it as a fun game. When you approach social skills as a game, you can relax and play the game. Social skills include several topics that are a bit too lengthy for this post, but the abbreviated list is as follows. Being a good listener, actively listening to another person talk and giving them small acknowledgements that they have your full attention. This means avoiding interrupting them. Unless pertinent, this means putting down your phone. This means turning your body a bit so you are facing them and leaning ever so slightly inwards towards them, barely perceptible. Not overtly. Asking relevant questions based on what they are talking about. Don't make assumptions, judgments or diagnoses, just ask small clarifying questions. Then revert to active listener. When approached sincerely, this makes you immediately likable. Manners. Manners maketh woe man. Be courteous, be kind. Be considerate, be excellent. Be respectful, but be cultural about it. Show it through gestures or in small ways. Being pompous can immediately paint you as a douche. Make an offer, offer someone eating alone to sit with you and eat, offer to share your umbrella with a stranger on a rainy day, offer someone your seat on a crowded bus, invite someone over for dinner or out to lunch, offer to cut your neighbor's lawn, say you are bored and felt like doing something nice. Watch out for signs of pushiness inside yourself that you may exert on others. Potential friends are like wet bars of soap. The harder you try and hang on with a grip, the more likely they are to slip away from you. Real friendship is a mechanism that doesn't require force. Be gentle, others have boundaries. As you should, respect those boundaries if you discover them. Have empathy, try and imagine having lived their life and be in their body. Try and understand where they are coming from, their implied messages, verbal and non-verbal, and have compassion upon them. Mind what you say, at least at first. Some people are turned off by swearing, some curse like sailors. Also, save the crazy conspiracy theories for a night of heavy drinking with your new friend. Opening with some sort of crazy talk can be a put-off. Have grace and a dash of humility. If you make a mistake, apologize and ask for forgiveness. You either get forgiveness or a powerful lesson. If you mess up, offer to fix it or help fixing it. But cop to your mistakes. If you goofed, offer forgiveness and forget about past errors of others. Here are some good books to read to help you learn some secret skills from the masters. The Greatest Salesman in the World by O.G. Mandino. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Love by Leo Buscaglia. Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. No More Mr. Nice Guy by Robert Glover. Now for the meetup portion. In order to meet people, potential friends, you have to either go out or invite people over. Cultivate different hobbies, join groups. Frequent places where people are doing that thing. Skaters meet other skaters at the local skate park. Motorcycle riders join motorcycle clubs. Dancers go dancing. Animecus peeps go to conventions. Shooters go to shooting ranges. Drinkers go to the bar. Yoga peeps go to yoga studios. Art lovers go to art museums. Sports fans go to games. Music lovers go to concerts. Alternatively, try inviting people to your place if you can for a barbecue, dinner, cocktails, smash bros, competition, bong rips, cupcakes, coffee, Bible readings, book clubs, DD sesh, movie night. But don't get discouraged if the person you invited flakes. Just move on to finding a real friend. They are out there. Have faith. An easy way to make friends is to get a dog. A dog is an easy icebreaker but will steal the spotlight in a social setting. Walking your dog or taking them to a dog park will give you a chance to wave at the neighbors, talk to fellow dog lovers, and, bonus, dogs are wonderful friends, though they don't fulfill our need for social interaction. Real friends are precious because they are rare. I have concentric rings of friends. I have 4 close friends, used to be 5, but one passed away a couple years ago. These are people I trust with my life, with my family, with my money. I have an intellectual circle of friends I can philosophize and debate with. I hire a small circle of gamer friends to game with. I have a few gym buddies, and I have a larger circle of acquaintances. Some friends come and friends go. And as the saying goes, there are friends for a reason, a season and a lifetime. Edit, for mating. I am on mobile. Ultimate Frisbee. I know the name of this sport alone. Sparks giggles, but it honestly changed my life 100% for the better. All over the world, the community around this sport is so amazing, filled with welcoming, talented and driven people. After 8 years of playing, I have played with teams in Ireland, Japan, Colombia, New Zealand, Vietnam, Malaysia and the Uz, who have all welcomed me with open arms and have had great senses of humor. One of my favorite stories is from my time in Vietnam, my first day in the country. I messaged the Facebook group of the local team and explained I was a player from Ireland. 4 hours later, I was being picked up on the back of moped and brought to their 2-hour practice. We shared sugar cane juice afterwards, and it was a great way to meet the locals. I owe my positive outlook on life to this sport, and the friends I have made within this community are by far my closest. Become a regular at a bar. I eventually got a standing invite out to the after-hours place the staff went to after the bar closed. When I was cool there, more social events followed. Drinking is an easy way to meet and talk with people, but you may end up finding that these are just people that you can drink with, and the friendship really doesn't extend beyond that. I've moved to a new city twice and found plenty of drinking buddies. Among those, I'm still close friends with one of them from City 1 and in touch with another from City 2. So it's not all for naught, but I've had more success finding real friends through other avenues. Bingo! Got divorced last year, didn't make friends when we moved until now. I just started drinking cheap beer and tipping the staff really well at my neighborhood bar. Bartenders remember faces and names. If you're funny, great, but just short little conversations go a long way. Once the staff likes you, other regulars warm up. So I second that comment. Repeat with regulars. Sit at the bar and hang out by pool tables, etc. Everyone is there for interaction to some degree. You'll recognize the ones that don't want to drink alone, but also don't want to chat. I've made 3 really good friends and several friendly acquaintances on the last year. Disclaimer, I also blew a bunch of money and drank way too much. Moderation and ride share are your friends. My husband jokes that we can't go anywhere without me running into someone I know. We have lived in our city for 2 years. School and work are great places for friends because you have to go to them consistently and you already have one thing in common, school or work. Find one thing you like and go consistently. My top 3 places: gym, fitness, neighbors, service people. Fitness, this is my hobby and I love group fitness classes. At Orangetheory, there is a sense of community and partner workouts. People are usually waiting to go into class and it's very easy to start chatting because no phones are allowed. It's usually something like, my legs are still sore from yesterday's workout. Did you go? At Pure Bar, it's very similar. At my community center, there are lots of retirees and it's like my son and I have 30 grandparents. I go to the same classes on the same day every week. People get to know you when you are consistent. Neighbors, go outside. Decorate for holidays. Plant flowers. Clean up around where you live. Show that you care about where all of you live and people will like you. See a parent outside watching their kid ride a bike. Walk up to them and chat. Gosh, that was a crazy storm last night. Did your power go out too? Or hi, I'm FAC's Olaf. I live across the street. I see you around. Is a good start too. Service people, be nice and treat people like they are people too. Ask them what they are doing this weekend. Then the next time you see them, ask it how it went. Put your phone away. You're not approachable if your phone is being used. It should be out of sight, to limit distractions. It shows the person you are engaged with them and present. There are going to be Dutch bags. It's about them, not you. Commit. If you want to find friends, you have to go out and do it. You're not so special that people will flock to you and think you're amazing and just show up at your door. 'Cause today I found my friends. They're in my head. My closest friends I met either at the climbing gym or on a random hike. Go do stuff you like that involves other people and talk to them. Once you're doing that thing with them regularly, do something outside that thing. In my experience, your best friends are people you do more than one kind of thing with. That is, if you meet them doing X. They aren't a real friend until you're also regularly doing Y. I went to Reviolin and said, hey, anyone in my area want to play chamber music? Found a foreign language group on meetup.com. Not close friends with anyone, but we chat regularly. Met a couple on dating sites. And then we just decided to be regular friends. Plus years and years and years of trying stuff and failing and feeling miserable about it. Behind all that, OMFG, this is such a good question. I'm all ears right now. If not making friends was an Olympic sport, it'd probably have gold. I dropped in on a D&D group at a local game shop. Met a few people that I became close with for a long time. Still friends with a few. Met people at the gym. Went out drinking with co-workers. People in the lane next to us while bowling. Still don't have many friends though. I just love my solitude. I can be your friend. Join a club, like a chess club. Anything. Even your town subreddit is a nice start. Find some forum, start chatting with people, and it won't be long until you find yourself with like-minded people in your town you can comfortably go out with. Looks like you got gold now. Playing tabletop games at a local game shop. People are generally open to new people and love to teach others. Consistently going, you start to see the same people and develop a relationship. It's not something that happens overnight. No friendship is like that. It takes a lot of time and effort to grow a friendship. On top of that, don't be afraid to ask them if they would like to do something outside of the game shop. Lots of people don't want to step outside of their comfort zone, and that often goes double for the people you'd meet in a game store. Example, I really want to see that new Marvel character movie that is coming out. Would any of you guys girls like to come? It's likely engaging your shared interests, pop culture, gaming, comics, etc., but showing that you can be friends outside the game store, which is important. I have fallen into the trap of thinking these people are my game shop friends and not even considering doing stuff outside that setting. Gonna take some notes while reading these answers. You'll do the same. We can compare in a day or two. The smoking section anywhere and everywhere. So sad. How true this is. After I quit, I feel like I have no way to engage with people. Smoke pits are just natural places to casually chat with different people. So much this. I'm glad I gave up the habit and I don't miss it. But I made so many friends in college, in smoking areas and outside bars that I can't believe it. 17 years after graduation and I'm still friends with some of them, though only a few still smoke. Anything for non-smokers, please? As an asthmatic, I guess I'm fucked. I've experienced this to be absolutely true, especially as a solo traveler at hostels or bars. Asking someone for a lighter is the easiest way to strike up a conversation ever. Hell, sometimes I don't really know what to start talking about, and even though I have a lighter, I just pretend I left it inside or something and ask if I can borrow one. Yep, met my wife this way. Couldn't agree more. I've met so many genuine people traveling abroad. It's almost as if all the BS is pushed out of the way due to the short amount of time both parties have on that particular trip. I feel I've gotten to know a few friends whom I still keep in contact with that I randomly met abroad and ended up spending most of the trip with. But how do you meet them? In a hostel? Don't know. I've never been to one. You have to actually put yourself out there though, if you know what I mean. You have to strike up a conversation and not wait for them to come to you. I went on a singles cruise once, a cheapo one. Met lots of great people on the ship. Some lived near me and we started doing things together after the cruise. Concerts and music festivals. Most of my friends I have all met at a concert or through other people that I've met at concerts. I like to talk and start conversations with random people. Met my wife at Riot Fest Punk Music Festival. I wish this was higher up in the comments. Making friends is so easy at shows because everyone already has something in common. And generally speaking, there will be a lot of downtime with nothing to do but wait before and after a set.